guys, welcome back. Today I'm doing a quick check over the 4.5 before the winter sets in, because it's my daily driver, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to do an oil change and check the fluids and everything seems fine, pretty much normal. I try and change the oil every year basically. I do about 4,000 a year in this and around just a little less in the other one, and then I've got my van as well, so probably around cumulative probably about 12,000 a year in all vehicles. So this only does about 3,000 or 4,000 a year, so every year I basically change the oil using Castrol GTX 2050, and obviously drain the oil cooler as well, and that's all pretty standard, all familiar with that. But while while I'm doing the front suspension of the 6.3, I thought I would just check the condition and make sure the Zerk points are lubricated, all 14 of them on the front suspension. And it's something that I've said in the past gets ignored, but is really crucial because obviously it's required every 3,000 to 4,000 miles to lubricate those Zerk fittings, and also because of the age, the little rubber seal can deteriorate, fall off, grease fall out, all the rainwater, all that washes all that grease out, and then you're going to get a lot of wear in those control arm pins, which are very expensive, especially if you go for the full-on Mercedes one. So now I showed you in the last video, I'm replacing the lower control pins on the 6.3, and like I say, these are around 500 bucks each. So I didn't pay that. I was able to score some OEM quality ones for a lot less than that, but anyway, so just to avoid any problems in the future, and also if you're buying one of these 108, 109 chassis, and also other, I'm not as familiar with other Mercedes, but it probably applies to, you know, like the 113s, 111s, obviously very similar, and other models. So it's something, if you get the car checked out, get it up on a lift, and this is what I want you to have the mechanic check, or you check. These little seals here, literally probably anywhere from $1.50 to $3 seals. Okay, they go on there, and you know, they get connected, and the Zerk fitting gets lubricated, and obviously because of the years these deteriorate, and then this is left bare, all the grease washes out. And I've noticed on the front lower one of this 4.5, I'll get you under there in a minute and show you, that seal's completely disintegrated. So that's something I've got to attend to next sometime next year. I'll get that in there. But I'm going through and greasing all the points, so I'm just really hammering home. A little tiny seal like that and a little attention can save you quite a lot of money in restoring the front subframe. So I've got those on order, or ordered here. I've also got new kingpins. These bushing sleeves get pressed into the steering knuckle, and essentially they ride like that inside the steering knuckle. And I don't know whether you can see, but there's kind of some rifling inside this bushing, and that's to get the grease lubricant down on this shaft, you see. So again, 3 grease points on the top here. There's a Zerk fitting on the middle, and that punches it in and lubricates these 2 bushings, and then there's a lower one for the lower bolt on the lower control arm. So you can see, if you know, once you get to see it, you understand the logic behind it, and you can see why it's important to lubricate these. These aren't as expensive. These ones are by Phoebe. I got a pair of these kingpins, I think it was about 150 bucks for the repair kit for both sides, that pair. There's that. I've got the top eccentric bolts ordered in. They're coming in. I was able to score some new old stock on those. Got those for 55 bucks for the pair, which was awesome. Mercedes ones as well, I think. So obviously with a sprung car, it's a little bit more complicated taking the control arms off. Obviously you've got to compress that spring, and that's something I personally haven't done. talked to Thomas on the group, and the way they do it is, well, maybe you'll have to check in with him, but from memory it's using the jack and then unbolting it and lowering the jack, and sounds a bit spooky to me, but normally the way the spring gets compressed, and then you can take it all apart. I've got a few other bits and bobs on order. Just to give you an idea, the front subframe on the air suspension car is obviously going to be more expensive to rebuild than the sprung car, because you've got, number one, on the 6.3, those crazy expensive engine mounts, nearly $700 roundabout. So you've got $700 there. You've got a couple of airbags. You could probably score those for a couple of hundred each. That's $1,100 right there. Then you've got the 150 on the kingpins, $1,250. The top eccentric, that's $1,300. Then you've got, let's think, the other lower bolts. I think they run at $120 or something. They're closing at $1,500. Then obviously, if you work your way out to, let's think, you've got, the lower pins. Now that's it. I mean, there were $1,300 there without replacing those control pins. Now, if you were to go full Mercedes on those, if you find them 4 kits, that's $2,000 to replace those worn control pins on the control arms. So vital you get these lubricated and make it part of the maintenance each 6 months, depending on obviously how you drive, 6 months, a year, or what have you. It's a bit of a pain in the butt getting the grease gun down there. I might get one of those pneumatic ones, basically you're just looking for fresh grease to pump out of those seals. So that being said, let's go to the other side. Actually, let me get you under there and I'll show you what I found on this lower control pin. Right, hopefully you can see that. It's pretty difficult under here to get a good shot, but see that Zerk fitting? Get the arm out of the way. Okay, see that Zerk fitting here? Now, here is where the seal's supposed to be. Right in there. And I can feel thread there. That seal is completely toasted, completely gone. So that's probably, that pin's going to need replacing once I get to it. So I pumped some grease in there to fill up the bolt bushing here where this pin goes in, but like I say, this is something that escaped my attention, but now I've got much more experience on rebuilding the other, so I'm what you learn as you go, you see, then you know what to look out for. This other one up here, it's kind of hidden behind here, that seal's still there, and I'm just going to go and check the upper ones. Here's the lower Zerk fitting at the bottom of the kingpin here. I've done that one, and then the halfway, so I've done all 7. There is the upper one hidden down there. Now I can't really get a good shot, but I do think those seals are underneath all that gunk there. I'll check that. It's very difficult to get to on the upper ones. No wonder it's recommended to drop the subframe to rebuild it. I mean, what a pain to get in there. Okay, we're under the other side now. Looks like there's the Zerk fitting there. That seal is still intact right there. Yeah, I can feel it. It's still intact, so you got to check that. Okay, so yeah, the seal is in good shape on this side, so just check those on yours. I've got to grease this side. So I hope you got something from that. A little perspective here. Sure, it's adds up to some dollars restoring one of these front suspension subframes. I think this is probably, I don't know the exact figure. I want to do a little show, a little channel episode breaking down my restoration costs as I go. I'll probably do 3 or 4 of those episodes so you get to see what I'm spending. Obviously that's not including labour and stuff, because we all love doing this, don't we? So you can't count that. Anyway, but so I'm thinking probably, as long as the air valves don't need rebuilding, now that's obviously a separate thing for the air suspension cars, but besides the air valves need rebuilding, I'll get to that in a minute. I've got something else to say about those. I would guess coming up for $2,500 I'm guessing because of the expensive engine mounts, that adds up, and the airbags, you know, that's $1,100 right there that you wouldn't have to spend on a sprung car. Obviously engine mounts, but nowhere near $700. And then the springs, I'm assuming they'd be all right to go straight back in, just get painted. So let's say 2.5 grand, right? If you put that into a shop, obviously they need their labour costs. They're in it for a living, which is fine. But my buddy had a Toyota RAV4, and they had some front end issues. He put it in the shop, and they had a bunch of stuff done. $2,500 for that, you know, and that's to me a modern car. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it's comparable to modern cars. So let's kind of keep it in perspective, you know. Things wear out, they need repairing. Yeah, some parts are expensive, but not crazy more than a modern car. So as far as the air valves, Jeffrey in Australia, hi Jeffrey, he put me onto a gentleman in Sydney, an older gentleman. He's in his 80s, and an old tool maker. Probably 50-60 years he's been in the tool making game over there outside of Sydney. Anyway, I called him up, and apparently Jeffrey tells me he rebuilds the air valves for the 6.3 and the 600s, and because of the exchange rate in Australia right now as compared to the American dollar, I spoke to him, lovely bloke, to rebuild an air valve. Each air valve will cost around 250 American dollars, which is around 350 Australian. Now with $50 shipping costs, obviously you'd make sure you insure them, sending them all the way over there, you know, you don't want to lose them. So for around $1,000 US, he will rebuild the valves. He tests them all, and he's done it loads of times before. He replaces all the little O-rings or whatever's going on in there. So what I'm going to do when I put this back and I finally get to testing, if it's a long time, long wait, I might even just send him off to him, you know, because he did actually say he's getting on in years, and he's not going to be doing it forever, you know. So I'll be glad to supply that information. He said it was okay to give his name out. Please PM me and I'll get that to you. So that's a gentleman in Australia. Just call him up, have a chat, talk to him. So that will help somebody, I'm sure, because those valves over here, they're probably around $550 to get rebuilt. So I hope you enjoyed this little video, interim video between the restoration jobs. I say I'm going to get back under there, put the oil filter on, grease the other side. I don't need to show you how to grease, just get a good grease gun, pump it in there until you see it coming out around the seal. So probably what you want to do if you're driving similar to me, 4,000 to 5,000 a year, once a year change the oil, do the suspension, and that means the back zerk fittings as well. I think there's several on the back. I can't remember 3 or 5 of them or something, but we're going to get to that in a later episode when I pull the rear end off of the 6.3 and go through all that. And I've not done that before, so I'll be asking you guys a lot of questions. I'm no expert on it, but I know some things, but I'm always happy to hear from you guys and get an input. You've helped me, you know, a lot on this project so far. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. And if I don't have an episode before Christmas, have a great Christmas and Happy New Year. All right, take care. Bye.